I am Deepak Varsagade, Professor in the Department of Zoology, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur. Today, I am giving a talk on the use of tussar sericulture for sustainable development of the tribals in East Vidarbha. I am thankful to the organizers for providing me an opportunity to talk with you and discuss my research work with you, which is helping for the development of society. Thank you.
Dear friends, the use of tussar silkworm Antheria myrata for sustainable development of the tribal in Vidarbha is my topic for today's presentation. The sericulture is the commercial production of silk. The silkworm are reared in masses and the silk are produced in a large quantity for the utilization. Sericulture worldwide is divided into two categories, mulberry and non-mulberry sericulture. Mulberry sericulture includes Bombyx muri, which has been cultivated in domestic level, while the non-mulberry silkworm includes the three type of silkworms which are totally wild, and throughout the world 400 to 500 species of non-mulberry silkworms are used in Asia and Africa continental area. Non-mulberry silkworm divided into two categories, temperate and tropical. Temperate area where the temperature is less and humidity is more. In this area, the two genus Antheria proli and Antheria yamamai are cultivated, while in tropical region where the temperature is more and humidity is less, three different type of silkworms are rare. These are tussar silkworm Antheria mylitta, Erie silkworm Phyllosemium ricini, Muga silkworm Antheria assama. I am talking about the tussar sericulture and what are the facts of this in today's situation. The tussar sericulture is a forest, cottage-based and eco-friendly industry, drawing foreign exchange and providing gainful employment to tribal people. It is a low investment, high output source of livelihood. Recent survey in India suggests that an increase in the domestic requirement of the silk, but the production is less. In such scenario, high prospects and potential for growth of tussar sericulture is there, which could lead to the employment of opportunities in India. Though the tussar silkworm is a natural source of income which is reared in the wild, to utilize this source for commercial silk production, our mission is to horizontally and vertically expand the tussar sericulture by adopting modern technology and to enhance the production of quality and quantity silk through the sustainable tribal development in East Vidarbha. We are working for this. Tussar silkworm, Antheria mylitta. In India, there are 44 ecoraces are found. One ecorace is found in the Vidarbha, is called as Bhandara local or Mulki or Rana. The ecoraces are decided on their habitat of particular pockets. Vidarbha is one of the pocket where the ecorace is available known as Bhandara local or Mulki ecorace. But to utilize this precise ecorace, it needs the awareness among the tribal about the use of this tussar silkworm for commercial silk production because it is wild in nature. Geographically, if we found, it is distributed in the forest of Gadchiroli, Chandrapur, Bhandara and Gondia districts. There are few pockets in this region where their population is having the more in percentage. The tussar silkworm, which is a wild, found in the forest, feeding on some natural plants. There are three primary natural plants which term as the primary host plants. One of them is Terminalia arjuna, commonly known as Arjun or Asan in the Vidarbha. Another one is the Terminalia tomentosa, commonly known by the Vidarbha people is Yen. Another, the primary host plant, that is the Shorea robusta, commonly known as Sal. It is found in Madhya Pradesh. There are various secondary food plants also, but the percentage of survival of these race is very low on the secondary food plants. To utilize a Antheria mylitta ecorace Bhandara for commercial silk production, the study related to physiological and some changes in the metabolic activity must be studied, and to taking into consideration almost all type of studies related to physiology and the behavior of this race has been studied before to introduce as the commercial silkworm in the region. This study includes life cycle of the tussar silkworm Antheria mylitta, the reproductive system and eggs production for commercial level, digestive system of this silkworm, silk gland structure, silk production, silk synthesis and the cocoon formation, effect of various pathogens as well as effect of environmental factor on these rays has been studied well in the Vidarbha region, and then after it is introduced for the mass rearing or commercial production through the tribals. We will try to see the life cycle. The life cycle of tussar silkworm has of 4 stages as eggs, larva, pupa and adult, as it is the insect the eggs are creamy white and slightly bigger in size. From the eggs, tiny larvae comes out known as first instar. The larvae are categorized into 5 instar. After hatching from the eggs, the larva size is very less, known as the first instar. Then after feeding, it grows in size. After first molting, it converts into the second instar. Then after second molting, convert into third instar, then fourth instar and fifth instar. The fifth instar larva is known as the mature larva. This larva, after feeding, is ready to go for metamorphosis after construction or spinning of cocoon. It spins the cocoon around itself and the larva convert into pupa inside the cocoon, and it took approximately 35 days to 60 days depending upon nature and environmental conditions. In Vidarbha, Antheria myelata Ecorest Bhandara completed 3 life cycles within the year. You can see the cocoon, initial spinning of cocoon, where the network of silk has been seen around the cocoon, around the larva, and larva goes releasing of silk, liquid silk thread around itself, and finally after construction of cocoon, larva convert into pupa. So this cocoon inside contain the pupa. Once we cut the cocoon, we can see that the larva converted into the pupa. There is a sex differentiation of male and female larva and male and female cocoon. From the cocoon, which was containing the pupa, after 35 to 40 days, the moth comes out, known as emergence. There is again sexual differentiation between male and female moth. Female moth is slightly yellowish and brighter in color than the male, but while male is brownish, dull in color. For commercial production, the maximum number of eggs has to be produced. How the eggs are produced, whether the reproductive system is well and normal or not, to study it, we had been gone through the complete reproductive system. This is the ovary showing the development of eggs. the egg's development process is known as vitellogenesis. So, the complete ovary having divided into three regions: first terminal filament, then germarium and vitellarium. So, yolk deposition and maturation of eggs is occur in the vitellarium, and mature eggs are then, after fertilization, is laid out by female. So after mating, male and this male, female mating, they lay the eggs, and the eggs having three different zones: micropylar zone, edge zone and disc zone. After study with the scanning electron microscope, the structure of eggs was found very normal. Micropylar pit is bigger, and there are ways for the entry of sperm into the eggs. The other zones containing the aeropiles, which are supplying the oxygen to the developing embryo in the eggs. The another most important factor to study of this silkworm is how it feeds and whether the digestive system is having almost all absorptions of the digested food or not. In the insect digestive system, the midgut is most important. In the tussar silkworm, the alimentary canal is divided into three parts: foregut, midgut and hindgut, and hindgut is the last part. Midgut is very important because the digestion and absorption of the food is carried out in the midgut. The midgut is made up from the four different type of cell: columnar cell, goblet cell, regenerative cell and endocrine cell, which are involved in various metabolic activity during the life cycle. This showing the histological structure of the midgut layer, showing the columnar epithelial cells, goblet cells, regenerative cells and endocrine cells. That means the digestive system is very normal and is ready to take a food and digest, absorb and utilize for the metamorphosis of this silkworm. The silkworm is known for the silk, and the silk is synthesized and released through the silk gland. In tussar silkworm, the silk gland is very long and coiled structure. It has a three different region: very thin anterior silk gland, the biggest part middle silk gland, and the longest part posterior region of silk gland. The silk gland open into the mouth through the spinneret. From the spinneret, the liquid silk comes outside the body, and when it come in contact to the air, the liquid silk converted into the silk thread. So scanning electron microscopic structure shows that the spinnerets are well developed in this ecorrhea and having a normal structure of the round orifice through which the liquid silks are comes out and utilized for the spinning process of cocoon. To compare the silk thread characters with other races, it is found that the viscosity of this ecorrhea, Bhandara ecorrhea silk thread is more than the another race known as Antheria myelata Daba race, which is exported from other state into the Vidarbha region and utilized as a commercial silk production by the different agencies. But the silk thread quality is higher and super than the silk thread of the Daba race, which is exported from other states. We also studied what kind of diseases are attack on these ecorrhea, though it is found in the forest and wild condition. There are normally 4 different type of diseases which can attack on the silkworm. One is Flachery, which is a bacterial disease, Grassery, the viral disease, Pebrine, protozoal disease, and Microsporidiasis, which is fungal disease. When the bacterial disease are found, there are different type of symptoms. The body swelling occur of the silkworm. If it is a viral disease, body become thinner and with the help of claspers, the larval head going toward the downsides and it hangs. When it is the protozoal infected, the swelling of larvae is occur, and if it is a fungal disease, the black spots appear on the larval body. If we found that there are various type of the climatic factors which can also affect on this silkworm population in the natural condition. We found that there is the mortality of the larvae during first crop was higher, second crop was slightly lesser than first crop, and in the third crop the mortality of the larvae due to the temperature was found very less. So in all total 5% mortality was noted because of the effect of temperature. That means temperature do not have much more effect on this race. Similarly, the rainfall is main factor because Vidarbha received the maximum rainfall. So rainfall also affect the natural population of this race up to the 20%. If the more rain, that mortality of the larvae is more. If the rainfall is less, the mortality of larvae is as compared to that one is minimum. The bacterial infection in first and third crop is more as compared to the second crop, and in total the 5% mortality was noted due to the bacterial infection in the field of tussar silkworm. Viral infection is another factor. The viral infection causes the more mortality of larvae in first crop as compared to second and third, and total below 5% mortality was noted due to the viral infection on the tussar silkworm. The protozoal infection is found mostly in the third cycle or the third crop, where the temperature is less and humidity increases, but the protozoal infection causes approximately 0.5% mortality of these larvae in natural condition. So if we compare this race Bhandara as compared to the others, we found that the environmental factor affected less as compared to the two other races, Daba and Sukenda, while diseases also are affecting very less as compared to Daba and Sukenda. Daba and Sukenda race of Antheraea mylitta is exported from West Bengal, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh, and they are trying to establish into the Vidarbha region. But the Bhandara local race is originated in the Vidarbha, is origin of Vidarbha, and therefore this they can survive in higher temperature, they can sustain, have developed more and more resistance against the bacterial, viral and protozoal diseases as compared to Daba and Sukenda race of tussar silkworm. So what the measure we should have to take for to propagate this race for the commercial silk production? So the action taken for sustainable utilization of tussar silkworm A. mylitta was as follows. We started to rear this silkworm in situ conservation and use of sustainable technology for rearing in the field. So we reared this race in a laboratory condition, in situ condition, and then we developed a slightly modified technology with the help of tribals, and we start. So we prepare the strategy for to produce a mass seed of this race. Seed means eggs. So we initially collected the cocoon from the forest. So as per the strategy we had been gone. So strategy was the collection of cocoons from the forest. So collection was done from the tribals. With the help of tribals, we went in the forest and collected, and then direct collection from the forest by my team. Then rearing of larvae, as I told you, the rearing was done in situ condition as well as in field condition. Then we started awareness and training program to the tribal rearers about giving the knowledge of economics of these rails. And finally, released of cocoon in the forest for natural propagation. So these photos showing how we have been in situ collection. Then we collected the cocoons from the forest with the help of farmers. These are the natural cocoons. We started grenades in our laboratory, and with the help of tribals we stored it well for 2 to 3 months. The net rearing in the net grainage in the departmental or laboratory conditions of these cocoons. From the cocoons, moths are coming out for multiplication. Then in the forest region, the tribals who are living near to the forest, they are collecting the cocoons from the forest. There is a big problem how to store and how to prepare their seed for next generation. So with the help of this locally available bamboo basket known as a dhuti, which is made up from the bamboo strips, we asked the tribals, we had given the training to them to store the cocoon inside their home for 1.5 months so that the moths will come out from these cocoons, mating will occur, they will lay the eggs, and these eggs will be utilized for a seed for next generation. This is one way we involve the tribal people from various villages of Chandrapur, Gadchiroli districts in the forest area, and we utilize even a earthen pot to temporarily store the cocoon and waiting for emergence of moth so that we can have the seed or eggs for next generation. Similarly, we rear out the eggs in a laboratory condition as well as in a field netting condition so that we can get a good amount of eggs for the next generation. In the laboratory condition, the adult male and female comes out, we allowed them to mate, and after laying the eggs, we started watch out the eggs with the special treatment and waiting for the hatching of the eggs. After giving the treatment of salt water and some washing powder in a limited percentage, the hatching capacity was increased of the eggs and we get maximum amount of the larvae. Then that larvae was reared in situ and netting conditions, and similarly it has been given to the tribals after transportation and released into the forest for natural rearing. Simultaneously with the government agencies, we carried out the awareness program among the tribal peoples, tribal rearers, and told them how this race is important in the Vidarbha region because it has a good luster of the silk, good quality of silk, it is resistance to diseases, it is resistance to the environmental condition. Therefore, it is suitable to rear in the Vidarbha region for commercial Tasar silk production. So government agencies as well as central government and state government agencies both was carried out the program, and we aware the people to use these rays for commercial silk production. Simultaneously, me, myself and my team, we independently goes in the forest. We carried out the training program in the forest with the help of tribal rearers and had given the demonstrations and some scientific knowledge of this race to carry out the rearing in the forest region so that they can be benefited more and more. So such type of various meeting was conducted in the forest areas of Gadchiroli as well as Chandrapur and Bhandara district forest. Simultaneously, we included the women's rearer so that they can manage well in the forest, nearby forest, and they can carry out the rearing of Tasar silkworm and get benefited. With the help of the peoples, students of various schools, government agencies, we prepare leaflets so that this leaflet can give the knowledge about the ideas of rearing of silkworm and their importance. For this, we got some finance from Rajiv Gandhi Science and Technology Commission, Government of Maharashtra, and the State Sericulture Department of Maharashtra. They also help us. With the hand of these people, students of schools in the tribal areas, we distributed these pamphlets and have a mass reading during the night time with the people so that they get knowledge about this precise eco-rays. Even the government of Maharashtra and Commissioner of Nagpur region also help us to reach these people and providing some facilities to help the tribal people and helping them for the upliftment of these downtrodden. If we calculated the economy of this rearing of the silkworms, the total rearing in 1 acre forest of Arjun or Asan, one family can get approximately 67,000 per year by spending only 1,500 rupees. So maximum benefit they can be get. Therefore, this business is known as low investment and maximum benefit business. So we help many families, and among this one family of the Shirpur place, which is near to the border of Tadoba buffer zone in Chandrapur district, they was benefited through this technology developed by us and their hard work in the region and get more and more benefited. So from this silk the beautiful clothes are prepared, and therefore this silk has more demand. So beautiful ladies with the beautiful tassar saris. There are many people who are helping to the other people also, and even they help the my team also. So therefore these are the real workers and real heroes in the forest region who are giving the knowledge which they have been gained and spreading the knowledge. For this work, my team was supported to me. So I'm thankful to my team as well as my mentor Dr. D.B. Tembre and my student Mangala, Hemant, Shruti, Manoj, Ganesh, Rahani, Jitendra, Parag and Devashri for their support time to times. Thank you very much.